Welcome to the Healthy, Wealthy, and Smart podcast. Each week, we interview the best and brightest in physical therapy, wellness, and entrepreneurship. We give you cutting-edge information you need to live your best life, healthy, wealthy, and smart. The information in this podcast is for entertainment purposes only and should not be used as personalized medical advice. And now, here's your host, Dr. Karen Litzy.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the podcast and welcome to 2018. Happy New Year to everyone. And I am excited because we get to kick off the new year, our first episode with Doctor of Physical Therapy, Jen Esker. So if you do not know Jen, she graduated with her MS in kinesiology and was accepted into Loma Linda University where she received her Doctor of Physical Therapy degree. She accepted a job at Vert Sports Therapy and Rehab in beautiful Santa Monica, California, and has worked with amazing individuals who have aided in the expansion of her knowledge of the body. She studied myodetox directly under co-founder Vin Palm, has taken rock tape course with the movement maestro herself, and learned from many other professionals in the rehab game. And she is now stepping into the next chapter of her career as a private sports therapist, creating programs, hosting workshops, and treating one-on-one for a more direct and precise experience. Her mission is to heal the world, and the best way that she can do that is through empowering people to learn how to heal yourself. Becoming educated on what's going on with the body is the most powerful piece of knowledge for establishing health and longevity for a pain-free and active lifestyle. So if you're not following her on Instagram, she is at DocJenFit. And this podcast comes out at the perfect time because she is doing a 7-day free mobility challenge. So head over to Instagram or to her website. All the links are over at podcast.healthywealthysmart.com under this episode, or just look up DocJenFit and make sure you start taking her 7-day mobility challenge. It's all about moving your body, making yourself more mobile, and grateful for the body that you're in. It's a great program. I have signed up for it, so everyone please join me. So in this episode, we talk about exactly how she built up her Instagram following she's now close to 400,000 people, which is amazing. I think it's a great example for how physical therapists can put their best foot forward to the public. A lot of times we tend to stay siloed in our own little physical therapy silo or bubble. And she is out there, she's putting herself out there, and she tells us exactly how she had a 6-figure launch of her online program. And I mean everything from the apps she uses for Instagram to the back end of how she built out her 7-day challenges and how she built out her program, exactly what she used, all the platforms. It was great. So something that's really important, I think, here is she did all of this with 0 mailing list. I don't understand how it's possible, but needless to say, she's got a great mailing list now. So without further ado, I want to thank Jen so much for coming on and being the first guest of 2018. There is so much in this episode. Be ready to take notes. Like I said, go to podcast.healthywealthysmart.com. Under this episode, we have all the links that she mentioned for all the different apps and back-end things that she uses to make her launch successful. So big thanks to Jen. She's awesome. I think we talked for like 3 hours. I'm pretty sure we recorded the podcast. And everyone enjoy and happy 2018. Hey, Jen, welcome to the podcast. I'm so happy to have you here.
Thanks for having me on. I'm excited.
So now everybody knows you're a PT. We talked about that in the intro, but can you fill in some of the blanks as to kind of how you got to where you are?
Yeah, I guess I've used my social media platform, luckily, to kind of create what I've been doing, which is now becoming an independent physical therapist and learning online marketing to reach a broader audience.
And how did you go about building up such a robust social media platform?
So I did get lucky in the very beginning because I found a calisthenic page when I was in PT school, and I would tag them, and then he reached out to me And he was like, oh, we all get together in Venice, like every 2 Sundays a month or something. And so I came out on a Sunday and met them all. Everyone was so incredibly nice. And then he started posting anyone who was in the calisthenic community. And this being 3.5 years ago, or however, yeah, I think it was like 3.5 years ago, Instagram was not the platform that it is today. So if he started posting me, I automatically started getting followers. And then from there, it just continued to grow as like this fitness background. And no one even knew that I was a physical therapist or really in school. Like some people could, like, I talked about it and some people were following my journey, but it was more about like my fitness journey, getting into calisthenics, what that looks like, competing in calisthenics, discovering acro yoga. And so it was just about fitness. And then I graduated and I had about 100,000 followers, and I just kind of didn't care about it. And then it wasn't until a friend, kind of motivated me to start posting more educational stuff and use my knowledge that I have to start to talk to my audience in that way. And so once I started doing that, that is where it really took off. And which made me so appreciative that people were actually wanting to learn now, and they wanted to be educated and they wanted to know about the body. So yeah, I grew 100,000 back in the day, but that was without even really trying. And then once I started posting educational stuff and really made that like my focus of my Instagram, I grew almost 300,000 followers within a year.
Which is pretty amazing. And now, can I just say that 100,000 without trying is pretty damn good.
Yes.
And I would also like to say that I don't know that you got lucky. I think you were strategic.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know that I would say, oh, I just got lucky because I met these people. You didn't have to go to
I did not have to.
them. You didn't have to put yourself out there. So I think it's not that you got lucky. I think you put yourself out there with the right people at the right time.
Yes, I did. And I guess I was strategic in a sense of like, once I started to see that people were catching on and starting to follow me, I started to gear it toward that, where it wasn't a personal page anymore. It was about specifically posting my journey and making sure I was posting every day, and then falling into the yogi category a little bit because I was upside down. I started hosting challenges with yogis. So it was strategic in a sense of like knowing my audience, knowing what they wanted, and knowing what to post.
Yeah. So that is basically the definition of having a strategy.
Yes.
So let's say there are people out there who don't have a lot of followers on Instagram, and they're trying to really build this up. So you've already said be kind of strategic with people that maybe you meet or you partner with, put out good content, know your audience, know what they want to hear. What else can people do to help to build this platform?
Yeah, I mean, it really is. You just have to look at it as a pure marketing tool, where it's what's going to be the catchiest, the prettiest, the most entertaining that people are going to want to see. So you could put out something that's super educational, but if you're just talking and it looks boring or it has a filter over it, like filters I think are the worst. It makes it look trashy. It makes it look personal. It just, it isn't as nice looking. You want people to be able to come to you. It looks professional. It looks engaging. It looks like something people want to see. And honestly, it just, what started to help me was doing the half anatomy picture and half video. And that anatomy picture, it was like a billboard of people just to catch your eye and be like, oh, I have pain right there. That is exactly what I need to watch this video, because that's exactly what I have, and it wasn't even about it. Maybe it didn't even have to do with that photo, but it, was kind of similar. And so it was just purely to get people to look. And that's what you have to do. It's like, what is going to be the catchiest? What's going to be, and then you could drop all the knowledge within the caption or within what you're saying. So make it good information. Like, don't make it crappy information, but at the same time, make it so that it catches someone's eye. And that's what you really have to do, and be consistent. Consistency is everything.
Absolutely. And I was going to actually ask you about that sort of split screen with the the anatomy picture and then the video. So how do you do that if people wanted to do that or something similar?
Yeah. If people ask me all the time where I get the photos, literally Google. Google
Easy.
image what I'm talking about or what I want people to see. And then I go into an app called Fonto and I put it together with the title and my Instagram name. And then I put the video together through, I mean, it's quite simple. It's whatever video app works for you. For me, I use Splice and Vaunt. And then I pick stitch them together. So it's
Oh, you pick stitch it together.
I do.
Ah, that's okay. Cool.
Mm-hmm. So it's a process in terms of like all these different steps that you have to do, but it's really quite simple. And I've stuck to that simple model because it works for me. For other people, like I have friends that are funny, and so that works for them. The funnier that they could be, the more entertaining. They don't need the half anatomy picture because they get people with like their sound and their voice and their just how ridiculous they are, you know. And then I have another friend who he like really goes into editing very deeply and has, you know, the caption titles at the bottom of the screen, and he drops in anatomy pictures as he's talking about it, or, you know. And so he does a lot more editing through an actual computer that I just don't have the time for. But I've found, you know, it works for me. It's what's continued to grow, and so I don't need to change it unless it stops working.
Well, yeah, you don't want to change it if it's not broken. And,
Yeah.
you know, like everybody says, simple is smart. So you
So
don't have
smart.
to overcomplicate
No.
everything.
And I think that's what people think. Oh, I need this nice camera. No, I shoot everything on my iPhone.
What?
Yeah. I mean, granted, I think if you're moving to YouTube and that's a little bit more professional looking, I believe that you should get. But honestly, if you're putting out something that's catchy, that's going to grab attention, that's entertaining, you don't have to make it as complicated. People will watch it. Like I have a girlfriend who was telling me that she put out a video about how to check for diastasis recti, and it was like way in the beginning. She had zero editing skills. She like literally went up, turned the camera on, like went back and kind of did it. And that one got over 200,000 views on YouTube. And it was really because of just what she was teaching. So clearly it doesn't matter what it looks like. It's really about how you're going to get your audience and engaging with what content, what people want to know, and dropping good information.
Yeah. And I think it's really important to note that you don't have to have the fancy $1,000 camera, because I think when people look at videos, it can be a little daunting and a little overwhelming. And then they'll say, oh, forget it. I just don't have the time, or I don't understand how to do any of this, or I have nothing to say. That's a
Totally.
big one. I have
Yeah.
nothing to say. But
Yeah.
what I've found is exactly what you said. The more simple you keep things, or basic information, people want basic information.
People
Like,
don't even know basic
that's
information.
exactly. And as physical therapists, you're in the healthcare space or whatever space you're in. If you're in the real estate space,
Yeah.
I don't know anything about real estate. So I'm going to
Exactly.
want to know real estate 101.
Exactly. You know something that people don't know. And as much as you think it's so easy because you know it, and it's like, no, everyone knows this. This is already common sense. It's not. I promise you, it's not. And that was one of the things that like I obviously got hung up on when I first graduated PT school. It was like, well, I'm focused on learning as much as I can and continuing to grow. And I'm such a new grad. How can I put out any information that people are actually going to want? And so I got stuck in this like mental thing of not being good enough. No one's going to want to learn from me. And I was scared as well. I was like, well, I follow a lot of mentors that I respect and people that I look up to. And what if I put out something that's stupid or that's wrong, or, you know, and you get into this constant negative mindset that just like scares you away from doing anything. And what really changed, I went up and I was talking to a friend, and he was like, you know, people already think that you're in a yoga space. So why don't you just gear it toward that? Talk about a yoga pose. You know anatomy, you know the body, like just start talking about it and see what happens. And so I was like, okay. And I think it was the first one I talked about was like how to open up wheel pose so it gets pressure out of your low back. And so I did a series of that, and it like took off in that first week. I was like so amazed. I was like, oh, okay, people do want to learn, and I do have enough information that I could still tell people. And then from there, I started connecting with people I respect, and I started getting attention from my mentors, and I started building relationships from people I admired, and it only helped. It did not hurt.
Right. So bottom line is know that you know more than the majority of people out
Yeah,
there, and
totally.
don't be afraid and get out of that negative mindset. But that still takes work. And before
Yes.
we went live, we were sort of talking about, because I asked, how do you get the confidence to do this?
Hmm.
How do you put yourself out there all the time? So do you want to kind of share with everyone the resources that you looked into and that you went through in order to do that?
Yeah, I mean, in the beginning, so this was like a year ago when I first started it, I really just started. And the more you start, it starts to become easier and easier and easier. So you just have to do it. And then when I was going to launch my program, I got into a leadership program. And this was more on like emotional intelligence, really getting deeper into your mindset and where it comes from and all these other things. And through that, through having like realizations and breakthroughs and regaining confidence and on all these other things, it really helped me to just like step up, believe in what I'm saying, have the confidence and like just be more me so that people could see that. Because the more that you come off as natural, authentic, real, just who you are, you're not trying, you're not putting on a persona, people are going to want to know more from you. And so the more that I stepped into that, just the greater things became. And so people can do these emotional type workshops and really start to work on what's deeper, because everyone needs it across the board, no matter what you're in. It helps to break you out of your shell, your bubble, whatever mindset you grew up with. And no matter what field you want to go into, it's just going to help to open everything up.
And I would also imagine, no matter what, not only what field you're in, but also what stage in your career you're in, I'm sure it could be helpful regardless.
Totally. Of course. Exactly. It doesn't matter whether you're just starting out or whether you've already been in it. I mean, we always should be wanting to continue growth and learning, and whatever that's going to be, that's going to take us beyond. Because once you get complacent and once you get stuck, that's when things start to actually drop, you know? And I think what's great and what I admire about you too is that you've been in PT for years now, but you continue to say, what's next? What can I do now? What is in the world? How can I help people bigger? How can I reach more? How can I teach? How can I continue to learn in PT? And those are the best therapists, because I've been in clinics where people have been a therapist for 10 years and are doing the same thing with every single client and have just stopped learning. So it's like, no matter where you are within your technical skills and then within your mindset, it's always going to be something we're continuing to strive for. There's never like I'm transformed, I'm good, or I've learned it all, I'm done.
Right.
That
Yeah.
just
Even
doesn't happen.
Oprah can't say that,
No.
or the Dalai Lama.
Exactly. These people who are at these levels, it's because they continue to do the work. It's never done.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about, you had mentioned just a few minutes ago about your launch. So
Hmm.
let's talk about your program first, and then we'll get into the nuts and bolts of the launch, what a launch is and
Yeah.
how it works.
Yeah. Well, I knew that there was something that I wanted to create. I mean, I wasn't just building this platform on social media just to build it, because that's a lot of work to just do nothing. And I also saw, my friends and stuff who were being sponsored by all these different brands, and it's great. They were making money, but once those brands go away, what do you have? Like, you have to be building something to do something with, hopefully. And so that was always my goal. I just didn't know what it was going to be yet. And I noticed that every single time I did something that was mobility based, or that was teaching someone about mobility in general, those videos always did way better. And so then I started to say, okay, well, it's what I do with a lot of clients when I'm starting them out. It's like, where are they restricted? Where are they not moving into, that we can help to break them up so then we can progress later. And so I said, well, I can give everyone a basis of where to start from. But so that's what I created. I created a toolbox because I also didn't believe that we all start off at the same place. There's different restrictions within each of our bodies, within every single diagnosis. Pains can be the same, but it be coming from a different place and a different cause. So I said, here, I'm going to give people a toolbox with all the tools that they're going to have to go in and do the work themselves, which a lot of people don't like, but this is what I believe in. And so I created a toolbox of something I believe in. And then I polled my audience too. And I said, what would you guys want from me? And literally everyone was like, mobility. So it just kind of confirmed, this is what I know people like from me because it's what they like seeing. This is what gets the best engagement. But not only that, I confirmed it with doing a poll. And then I did a questionnaire on top of that where I said, I want to know more from you guys so that I know that I'm going to give you the information and the value that you're going to want. And that already kind of set them up in their mindset that something is coming. And so that was like what Jeff Walker talks about being the pre-launch, where you give out a survey and you talk to them and you say, I want to help you, because then you're telling them I'm really doing this for you. It's not for me, it's for you. Again, mindset. And then you get to go deeper and to confirm what you already know is true. And that is exactly what I did. Mobility was across the board, the highest answer in the survey, in what I asked people. It confirmed everything. And then from there, I ran a free challenge. And that was all about mobility and gratitude. And again, set mindset. Because when I really pulled people back into, the mobility challenge was, I'm going to be frank, it's easy. It's a free challenge, so I'm not giving away.
It's supposed to be easy though.
Yeah, exactly. It's supposed to be something that everyone can follow along with, no matter where you are in life. But the kicker of it all was that it brought everyone back to gratitude and appreciation for their bodies. I told stories about people I knew who had cerebral palsy that are amazing and live on their own out of a wheelchair. I talked about a young lady that I met who had JRA and was still doing yoga and running, and a funny, comment she had made to a gynecologist who didn't know what to do with her. And I just continue to reframe, like, do you understand what you just did with your body? Do you understand you just reached overhead, and a lot of people can't do that? Or you just moved your legs. Like, you might think that it's terrible and it's bad, but have appreciation for what you have right now and what you're able to do and to move into. And because there is ways that you could still change, and your body is able to do that, and you can create that on your own. And so driving back and honing in on mindset was everything.
Yeah. So showing people that look at this is where you've gone, but there's potential for more. There's hope for more.
Yes.
And that it's amazing what the body can do when people are just given the instructions to use it.
Yes, exactly.
And that's all it is.
That's all it is.
It's amazing how so many people need permission from an outside source to say, yes, you can do this.
Right, exactly. Well, it's like, we don't want to take responsibility a lot of time. We want to say, no, this person's going to fix me. This is going to fix me. And when it really is a lot of times, yes, we need an outside source to be able to say, an expert to be able to see things and instruct a little bit further. But there's a lot that if we just tuned in and we listened within ourselves, that we could discover on our own. And people don't want to take on that responsibility. It's like eating food and you're like, oh, that made me feel crappy, I'm not going to eat it anymore. If you just tuned in a little bit, you would be able to create your own diet and your own lifestyle, But a lot of times we need that feedback from another person that's going to say, this is what's going to fix you. This is the cure. This is everything, instead of just doing the work for ourselves.
Yeah. And as a physical therapist, I think a lot of PTs can sometimes get stuck in that mindset that they are the fixer.
Yeah.
They have to. I've had patients that I've seen that said, "Oh, well, I have to go back to this PT because she said that my knee was out and she took her hands and put it back in for me, and that's the only thing that'll make it feel better." And I'm like, "No,
exactly.
Again, it's just a no." But I think it's if you are causing your clients, your PTs, even your followers to be so dependent on you, that's an unhealthy relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you can do like what you said you did for even this free challenge to help people get more confidence in their bodies and to think of themselves as not being broken or
Yes.
damaged goods,
Yes,
that
exactly.
is huge, huge.
Yes.
So it's no wonder if you're able to do that in a free challenge, the launch is going to go quite well.
Yeah, that was impressive.
You know, that makes sense to me. You had this free challenge. How long was the free challenge?
So I did a 7-day one. I have a girlfriend, Lori Harder. She really helped me kind of structure it. She does a 14-day challenge. That she's all fitness, so it's a little different. It was like 20-minute workouts every day or something like that. And she gives away $1,000 to a winner
At the end of the 14 days or
at
every
the end
day?
of the 14 days. And for my challenge, I gave away, you could either win an Apple Watch, you could win a supplement package from one of my favorite companies, or you could win a foam roller from one of my favorite companies. So I gave the option of 3 different winners, but you had to post on social media. So in order to win, everyone else had to post me. Everyone else had to hashtag it. Everyone else had to talk about it. I didn't.
Smart. So then that makes, you're just casting a wider net.
Yes. I was
You're
growing.
exponentially growing.
Yes, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I was growing a lot more that week. And here's the other thing, because when I built up my social media, I did challenges all the time with other people, but we always posted it on social media. So that's great. You get some people involved, but anyone can then just see it on social media. But when you say, no, you have to opt in here in order to get the challenge, you put people on your list. So you start to build an email list, which is crucial across the board, which I didn't know. So like
What?
a month leading up to
Girl,
my challenge,
how did you not know this?
I didn't have an email list.
Oh boy, oh boy.
I know. Isn't that awful? I did not have an email list. I didn't have anything. I had, so
but this is good. This is good for people to hear.
Yes,
right?
exactly.
Because a lot of people don't have email lists and don't have tens of thousands of people on an email list. So this is good to hear that you can do this without having a list.
Almost all my social media friends don't have email lists. They just think that they're going to sell a program because they have a social media following. And the thing is, people don't, first of all, who is really seeing your posts based on all your followers? Not that many people are seeing your posts. And people aren't going to your social media to buy.
No.
They're going to see free things. So you have to have an email list in order if you want to buy or sell. And so, yeah, I didn't know this. So I was creating an email list like 3 weeks before I launched, literally. And what really built my email list was doing the free challenge. And so I think I posted about the challenge like 10 days before.
10 days before the launch?
10 days before the launch, I posted about that's when I started advertising. I used 0 ads because I didn't know how to do them.
That's fair. That's fair.
I like looked at the
honest
Facebook.
And fair. I love it.
I looked at the Facebook thing, and I even like went through and like wrote notes from a interview I watched and all these things. Still couldn't do it. So I just gave up on it. But yeah, so I started marketing about 10 days before. I used Canva, which is a free app that you could use to create little fun marketing things. And I posted those on social media. I talked about it in my stories. I talked about it on lives, and I got people to sign up. And I kept the opt-in for people to sign up the entire week throughout the challenge. So you could opt in on day 7 of the challenge and still get all the videos if you wanted. And that continued, and keeping it open like that is key because I got almost close to 11,000.
Wow, that's awesome.
Just based on having that free challenge. And then from there, I used literally Jeff Walker's, and what I did is, so the challenge was hosted on my website, but it was a URL that's hidden, and you had to check your email in order to get the link.
Got it. So if someone just going to go to, what's your website?
DocGenFit.com.
DocGenFit.com. Yes.
Yes.
That was coming out of my mouth, I swear. So if you just went to your website, you wouldn't see information for the challenge.
No.
Okay.
So you had to opt in.
Mm-hmm.
And then you had to click on that link in order to go to my website and see that day. And I had every day on a different page.
Each challenge was on a different. So each challenge that was emailed out was a different link.
Yes.
Got it.
So then again, you get people, it's all about mindset. So you get people enrolled in seeing your email, starring your email so it becomes a primary email, and opening and clicking.
I see. Because if you said the 7-day challenge, you can get it all on this one link, then that means that they wouldn't be opening their email each day and maybe reading a little bit something different. It's not like it was just like, here's the link, good luck.
Yep.
I'm assuming there was a little bit more copy there to make it a little more enticing.
Exactly.
Yeah, that makes sense. And it makes people look forward to those emails.
Yes, exactly. And then in the PS, so even on day 1 of the challenge, I said, PS, guys, I'm going to announce something really exciting on day 3. Led up to it again on day 2. And in day 3, I said, PS, guys, I've been listening to you, and I actually have a full program that's about to launch really soon. It's all the mobility that you would need. I was getting emails back by people saying like, oh my God, I'm so excited. I thought, I was like, oh no, people are going to be like.
You're going to hear crickets.
Yeah. Or they're going to hear like, oh no, you just got us into this free challenge, whatever, so you could sell. But really, like, it's all about mindset, and you're giving, and the more value that you give, the more that you'll receive. And I think people get scared of that too. I remember when a girlfriend was wanting to build up her social media, and she's like, if I give out all my things and I tell everyone what I do, then I'm not going to be able to have credibility anymore because it's all going to be gone out there. And I was like, no.
I feel like it would do the opposite.
Exactly. The more that you like give out all your stuff, no one's actually going to put it together. That's the thing. Like, I can tell you exactly how to launch. I can tell you exactly what to do, but you have to be able to put it all together and create something that is of value and is going to work and is going to follow the steps perfectly for someone to actually even do it. So it's like, give out information because it only builds up your credibility even more. People are going to want to know how you did it. Oh, you have all the information. Now I need to come to you, and I need to learn from you. And so the more that you can put out there, the more that you'll get back.
Yeah, for sure. So now you did this 7-day challenge. You have people signing in, they're opting in.
Mm-hmm.
And then do you launch on day 7, day 8? Do you say tomorrow's the day, the doors are open kind of a situation, or how do you do that?
So I did day 8. I said, I announced the winner within day 8.
On day 8, yeah, smart.
Uh-huh. So again, open the email so that you see who won, if you won. And then I announced that I have the program.
Awesome. And what is sort of the back-end system that's helping you do all of this?
I used, for my opt-ins, I used lead pages. And I even created for my program, I created my sales page on lead pages, actually, because I didn't like the one on the platform. And for my ebook, I guess you could say I use Thinkific.
What's it called?
Thinkific.
Thinkific. Okay.
Yeah. So it's just like the old school way of kind of creating ebooks was to use your PDF and then have like a password protected place on your site where people go in and they can log in and they can see the videos, or your video would, now you can have it all in one place. So Thinkific is just a way to, payment is made through there, your landing page, everything is made through Thinkific. It can link to your site, so it looks like it's part of your site. And it has all the videos and words and everything all in one place. So it makes it really easy. You just log in to one site and you have the whole platform there.
Nice. And what email marketing tool do you use? Do you use like ConvertKit or Infusionsoft or Active?
So I was on Aweber.
Okay.
I'm switching over to ConvertKit.
ConvertKit.
Sorry, Aweber. Switching over. Yeah, I've heard really good things about ConvertKit,
Yeah,
so
so have
that's
I.
why I'm going there. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I think it's important for people to understand that there are so many tools out there that we can use to make life easier.
yes.
So Thinkific, and we'll get all the links to this and put them in the show notes for this page. So if people, or for this podcast rather, so if people want to play around with some of the apps that you are using,
Hmm.
or the email marketing system, because oftentimes if you don't know, you're like, forget it.
Yeah,
I don't, how's
exactly.
someone doing this? I don't even care. It looks too hard. Screw it.
Yeah,
I'm not doing it.
yeah.
You know,
Which is what I did for Facebook ads. I was like, nope, can't do
nope.
it.
Yeah. And, Facebook's ads is a little confusing. I actually have an appointment next week with a Facebook ads pro
Yeah,
to literally do like a screen
yeah.
share with
That's
me.
what I
And
did. That's what
yeah,
I did. So now
yeah,
I'm using them. Yeah,
yeah, because that's the way to do it. Otherwise, there's so many tricks of the trade there
yeah,
that you just wouldn't know, even if
exactly.
you knew how to put up a basic ad.
Yeah.
Too many
Yeah, I mean,
tricks.
it's so many. And you can't just boost. Never boost
Yeah,
a
yeah, no.
post.
No. I know you
Yeah,
can't
I've
just boost unless, well, you could boost if you're boosting to like your fans. So like if you have a Facebook fan page, you can certainly boost the post if it's specifically to your audience and just to the people who are fans of your page, if you want to try and wrangle those people back around to you. Um, that being said, if you want to do something that's going to give you a little more bang for the buck, it's certainly a Facebook ad. But this
yeah.
is, I mean, we're talking two people who are not Facebook ads experts
No,
here.
exactly. You got to go through the whole business aspect of like the power editor and all that kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
it's very complicated. I just did a podcast on it the other day. Super
Nice.
complicated.
It
Um,
is. It's really complicated.
it's really complicated. That being said, you don't have to spend a lot of money. Like the traditional ways of advertising are dead.
Hmm.
Look at you advertise what mainly on Instagram, right?
Mainly on Instagram.
And you got 11,000 people to sign up for a free program. Now you have those 11,000 emails, and now you can use your ConvertKit to keep communicating with those people.
Exactly.
Now,
Exactly.
do you then send out a newsletter every week? Are you a monthly, a bi-weekly, a weekly,
I'm a weekly.
a weekly?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I send one out every Monday. And that was the other thing. Like I'm telling girlfriends, like you gotta, you need an email subscription now. You need to be building up an email list, but you can't just build up an email list. Now you got to start talking to it. So on top of doing your Instagram post every day, now you have to create newsletters, and now you have, so it's a lot that you have to do.
It's a lot, but I would imagine, do you sort of plan let's say at the end of the week or the beginning of the week, do you sort of have a plan? Do you have like an editorial 52-week plan of everything you're going to do for the 2018?
I don't. So I've been planning every week
Mm-hmm.
for my Instagram posts, and I shoot all in one day.
Oh, smart. Okay. That
Yeah.
makes sense.
I
That's
would
a good tip. That's a good tip
yeah,
for people.
yeah. But my goal for January, at least, because I am going to be traveling, is to get that all set up
Smart.
for all 4 weeks.
For all 4 weeks. So you
Yes.
would do all now on Instagram, you can't like queue things up, can you? You just sort of post it that. So you have to physically be posting.
Well, there are different apps. I can't remember what they're called right now. There are different apps that you could look up that will do your post for you. I have an assistant that I just have her post if I'm away, or if I'm not going to be in Wi-Fi or something like that. So she'll help me out with that. I just have to but that does require you having the caption and the video edited and all of that stuff already done. So
Right.
I have a lot of work ahead of me before I leave. But yeah, it should be getting it all, as much as you can do, and writing it all out. It just helps.
Absolutely. For sure. Okay. So before we finish up here, what are the main points you want people to take away from what you've done, I think, very well as a new physical therapy grad? Newish.
Yeah.
You're not brand new. You've been out for a
No.
couple of years. It's not like
Yeah.
you just graduated a month ago.
Right.
But on the newer side of a PT and leveraging social media for good.
Yeah. So I would say start doing social media, no matter what platform that is that you want to grow, whether that's YouTube or Facebook, or maybe you want to do both. Start now and be consistent with it. is start reaching out to people, doing collaborations, and then start something free that you can give people so that you can get them on a subscription. Like if I would have started emails and had, somewhere for people to opt in like 3 years ago, that would have been everything.
Well,
but I didn't.
But that's okay because now you know.
Now I know. And honestly, I still did a 6-figure launch. So it can be done.
It can be done. Awesome. Congratulations. And before we go, question I ask everyone, knowing where you are now in your career and your life, what advice would you give yourself as a new grad?
Be open, learn from everyone that you can, and dive into social media because the world is moving online. And if you just stay in person, you're going to be left behind.
Yeah, and I think that's great advice. So Jen, thanks so much for giving up a couple of hours here on a weekday. I really appreciate it. So thanks so much for coming on.
Of course. Thanks for having me on.
My pleasure. And everyone, I hope you were taking notes because there's a lot. But if you weren't, head over to podcast.healthywealthysmart.com and we'll have the links to everything we spoke about today in the show notes for this podcast. And Happy New Year to you all. And I wish you all luck for a great 2018 and stay healthy, wealthy, and smart.
Thank you for listening, and please subscribe to the podcast at podcast.healthywealthysmart.com. And don't forget to follow us on social media.